specialization was public interest litigation, and now he practices on the civil side, especially indirect taxation on GST. He's a senior panel counsel of the Union Territory, and he has been appearing for numerous government bodies, and he's been associated with numerous heritage committees, Rogi Kalyan Committee, and Tax Intelligence Unit of Chandigarh Union Territory. He has authored 2 books on GST, one before the implementation of the GST and one after the implementation. One big book on Consumer Protection Act 2019 and Right to Services Act. He has been in the forefront fighting against the antique smuggling from the city or union territory of Chandigarh, where antique furnitures, antique street furnitures, and various type of furnitures has been stolen from the country, and he has done a big campaign to get this back and prevent this smuggling happening. So without much words, I will now take you over to Dr. Subramanian Swamy to start this discussion on this very important subject, the Uniform Civil Code. And with this, it's over to Dr. Swamy to initiate the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Jagdish. And friends, it's a very important topic because it's something that we have, as a party, been promising from a long time, and it's in the manifesto. Even in the Jansang days, I remember we have demonstrations demanding that it be implemented. Now, Jagga is a very eminent lawyer. He's so eminent that there's too much jealousy. So everybody there is worried that if you give him even a small room to enter into the officialdom, then he'll probably end up with as an attorney general, and they'll all be left behind. So anyway, but he's still very young, and he's got a big career ahead, even bigger career ahead, and we wish him well. And he's written on a number of subjects, and nowadays, whenever the RSS organization or its friendly organizations, they hold any meeting on law, Jagga is always invited as one of the prominent guests. So we are very happy to have him here today. He's also expert in many other fields of law. For instance, on the smuggling of antiques from Chandigarh, he has played a major role, and is known as a person who has done that and is respected for that. So today we get him for this in this subject of UCC, as it's called, the civil code, civil code of the country, which is there in the Constitution, but not as a direction. It's in the directive principles. So it means that it's strongly recommended by the founding fathers of our country that the Uniform Civil Code and ban on cow slaughter, and all these are part of the directive principles of the Constitution, which is not binding, but it is strongly urged that the state carry out necessary legal procedures to make it a law, and we have not done it. And so far, some hesitation. I don't understand. After all, what all is a part of this Uniform Civil Code is that marriages and inheritances, receiving what is your property rights in a family, all these, they can't be one for Muslims and one for Hindus or one for Christians. There has to be a single. These are all material things. It's not a question of whether God is A or God is B, but these are matters. And after all, if a Muslim marries 3 or 4, then some other Muslim will not get a bride because their the women are 50% and male are 50%. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So therefore, when the Hindus decided that, like Lord Rama, he was our symbol. For one wife, he went all over the place, and whatever else happened, he just wouldn't look at anybody else. So that is the principle of the civil code, that marriages are sacred, and it should be a strict combination between man and his wife, or a wife and her husband. And this is what you want to bring out. You can't say that tomorrow I marry you, and then I simply say, I know you're no more married, or you say talak, talak, and that's the end of it. So we have been through a series of things now, slowly, but very slowly. After all, the first time the matter came to be under challenge is not on the constitution. It is the Shabanu case, where she used her lawyers used the criminal law, not the IPC, but the CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, to say that should be paid a maintenance amount, and that maintenance amount is additional to something called a idat or something like that, which is given when you divorce a wife. You give her a small amount of money and say, now go out. Even that is not implemented, but that is there in Quran. So therefore, women are treated like chattel, and we can't have that. And certainly in India, with leave alone Hinduism, but I'm saying even as any secular society, men and women are equal. So what we are today discussing is why UCC. What is it that it will entail? What have the Hindus done? What is this Hindu code bill that we passed? Is that something that there should be a Muslim civil code? Because the Hindus already have this. They have all very, very established now. The Hindu code will completely systematized the relationship between man and his wife. There was property, the children, everything. It's all there in black and white. So the same kind of thing we want for every other religious group in India, including the Muslims, and that we will not allow theology to come in the way of what is a human rights issue. The behavior of women and the behavior of men to women, and the status of a woman in a marriage or in inheritance, and so on. So over to Jagga. The field is yours. You explain to us what is this all about, and why is it not being implemented? What is the block? And then after that, we'll have some questions to give to you from the other panelists here in this show.
Thank you, Dr. Swami. I am grateful to Virat Hindustan Sangam as well as respectable Dr. Swami for providing me an opportunity to deliver a talk in front of him, which looks like a Herculean task. But anyway, I'll do my best to ensure that all our viewers at least have a clear-cut view as to what is Uniform Civil Code and what we are doing and what is the way ahead. Now, to beginning with, we started the things with regard to UCC with a public notice issued by the 22nd Law Commission of India, dated 14th of June, where they invited views and ideas of the public at large regarding the Uniform Civil Code. So, mark my words, they have only invited views and ideas. So, this is what has started a debate in the country. And now, beginning with the word UCC, I will provide the definition both in Hindi and English, just for the better explanation of the language. Like Samvidhan is when we do a Sandhi Viched, there are two words which comes out of Samvidhan, that is Sam and Vidhan. Now Sam is equal to Saman, which means Barabar or equal, and Vidhan means legislation. So when we join both the words, it becomes Saman Vidan. That means similar legislation for all the people. Now, when you go to the English, the term Uniform Civil Code is of three words called Uniform, Civil, and Code. Now, uniform means all people are same in all circumstances. That is in one form. Civil is taken from a Latin word called civils, which means citizens. When used as an adjective to the term law, it means right of citizens. The third word is code. Now, code is also taken from the Latin word codex, which is a book. So, therefore, it means the uniform laws that are applicable to all the citizens of India, irrespective of the caste, religion, birth, sex, tribe, etc., etc. After the definition, I go to the origin of the Uniform Civil Code. In one of my lectures, somebody asked me from where this thing has come up. So, the origin or the birth of Uniform Civil Code came from the first Law Commission was appointed in 1835 under the Charter Act of 1833 with Lord Macaulay as the chairman. Now, later on, the Lex Loci report came in 1840, and the issue was that the Anglo-Indians had complained that civil laws applicable to them in other places in India was not clear, and there was much confusion with regard to the laws. Now, with this, the whole Lex Loci report was prepared. Now, this word Lex Loci also has come from Latin, and that means law of the place. That's what is the Lex Loci report. Now, this report came in 1837 and it was implemented in 1840. Now, this report has three parts about the laws. One is civil law, one is criminal laws, and third, they have carved out personal laws. As far as civil law is concerned, they made the laws. That is, came Civil Procedure Code applicable to all. For criminal, they came with the Criminal Procedure Code and subsequently came with Indian Penal Code. That is also applicable to all without any discrimination. But somehow they left the personal laws. They said these are the personal matters of Hindus, Muslims, etc., etc. So for that part of time, they said we are not doing. So they left it, and that part which was left in the Lex Loci report is known as those civil laws which we are now calling Uniform Civil Code, which is pending. Subsequently, when 1947, the Indian Independence Act got the royal assent on 18th of July 47. The Hindus and Muslims and everybody, they accepted the recommendation of Lord Mountbatten. It started with partition of India, bringing two independent dominions, India and Pakistan. Pakistan got split into Pakistan, East Pakistan, then became Bangladesh. Bengal, Punjab was divided. And then Jawaharlal Nehru became first Prime Minister, Jinnah became Pakistan Governor General, and Liaquat Ali Khan became the first Prime Minister of Pakistan. Now, as per the Indian Evidence Act, the Indian Independence Act 1947, the day was 15th August 47 when the two independent dominions were set up in India. And that time, it was in the section 8 of that act says that the power of legislation shall initially be with the constituent assemblies of each dominion. That means Constituent Assembly for India and Constituent Assembly for Pakistan. Now, 4th November 1948 is the date when Shri Baba Bhimrao Ambedkar came out and told the basic outlining of the draft constitution. It has been recorded in the volume 7 of the Constituent Assembly debates. Now, he gave 3 points. One, he said that there has to be a single judiciary. Second, he said there has to be uniformity in fundamental laws, civil and criminal. And third, a common all India civil service to man the important posts. Further, he said the care is taken to eliminate all diversities from laws which are at the basis of civic and corporate life. And the great codes of civil and criminal law, such as Civil Procedure Code, Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code, Evidence Act, Transfer of Property Act, laws of marriage, divorce, etc., are either placed in the concurrent list so that necessary uniformity can always be delivered. Subsequently, Article 35 is also referred. So I would like to just tell the viewers that Article 35 was the part of the draft constitution, which eventually became Article 44. But in the draft constitution, it was Uniform Civil Code under Article 35. Now, the most important date in the Constituent Assembly with regard to Uniform Civil Code is 23rd of November 1948. 23rd of November. Now, what happened in the debate is that there were primarily three key speakers. Number one, Muhammad Ismail Khan. He was from Kerala, from the constituency called Manjeri, and he was president of the Indian Union Muslim League. Second was Hussain Imam, and he was a prominent politician of Bihar and a member of Constituent Assembly of India. They were the two persons who were interestingly against the timing of Uniform Civil Code. And on record, it has been mentioned in the Constituent Assembly date that they actually agreed with it. Muhammad Ismail Khan on record gave a statement to the Constituent Assembly saying that I have no doubt that a state would come when the civil law would be uniform. But then that time has not yet come. So this is absolutely clear that they were all in favor of uniform civil code, but they said the time has not yet come. He said, we believe that power that has been given to state to make civil code uniform is in advance of the time. So this is in advance of the time. But he says, anyway, ultimately the state would be justified in bringing a uniform civil law, but we are not yet ready as yet. So they never said that it is not, he said it is required. They only said that country has partition right now, we are stabilizing other issues, so let's not touch these things right now, but let's make a part of it. Then there was Hussain Imam. He also gave a statement recorded in Constituent Assembly debates. He says, I feel it is all right and a very desirable thing to have a uniform law, but at a very distant date. So he recorded this thing that he also agreed that it is required, but at a distant date. And for that we should await for coming of the event when whole of people will be educated, there will be mass literacy, etc., etc. And you can't have it today, but subsequently it will come. And then ultimately the concluding remarks of B.R. Ambedkar, he says, we have the law of transfer of property, which deals with the property relations, which is operative throughout the country. Then there is Negotiable Instruments Act, which is also operational throughout the country. And he said, I can cite innumerable laws which are applicable throughout the country, and practically a civil code is there in the country, uniform in its content and applicable to the entire country. He said the only province the civil law has not been able to invade so far is the marriage and succession. It is this little corner that he says that we have not been able to invade so far. And it is the intention of those who desire to have Article 35 as part of the Constitution to bring about that change. Therefore, the argument whether we should attempt such a thing seems to be somewhat misplaced for the simple reason that we have, as a matter of fact, covered the whole lot of field which is covered by Uniform Civil Code in the country. And his last line was, it is therefore too late now to ask a question whether we could do it. As I say, we have already done it. So he had virtually closed this entire debate that whether we should have a uniform civil law or not, so the people should know that Union Civil Code is already existing, because in the Constituent Assembly debates, that article which was in the draft constitution was made Article 44 of the Constitutions. So hence issue number one is clear, that Uniform Civil Code is already existing in our Constitution. The only issue is, if we go, now what it says, UCC seeks to implement secular laws to govern all people, including those belonging to different religion. It intends to apply the whole body of legislation governing of property right, personal right, marriage, divorce, maintenance, adoption, inheritance. Now this is a one-line article. This is absolutely clear in the directive principles. It says the state shall endeavor to secure for citizens a uniform civil code throughout the country. Now the word is state shall endeavor. That means the provision is there, but states has to endeavor. So now it is already there. First part is clear. I would also like to make a small mention that people accept the Uniform Civil Code in US and Australia, even as not being Sharia law. But they are not ready to accept Uniform Civil Code in India, not as a principle, but just to skip it, say the right time has not come. We also go to the 42nd Amendment, which brought to the preamble the word called secular. Now, the secular word was brought in and it is also being misunderstood and misinterpreted. The meaning of secular is very simple. It says religiously neutral, means no religion, says secular. So UCC, apart from being approved under the constitution, is secular also, and thus preamble also, gives force that we must have the uniform civil code in our country. I would also like to mention what Mahatma Gandhi once he had mentioned. He said we should get out of the miasma of religious majorities and minorities. Now, miasma I defined and found that it means that something which is stinking, which creates unpleasant atmosphere. So even Mahatma Gandhi said that we need this uniform law to remove all this dirty smell from the country. We have to good atmosphere, then we must have it this thing. I also like to mention a case about John Volamatam versus Union of India. It was a case in 2003 when Chief Justice was V.M. Khare, Honorable. He observed that it is a matter of great regret that Article 44 of the Constitution has not been given effect to. Parliament is still to step in for framing a common civil code in the country. This is the observation of the Chief Justice of India in 2003. So that means we were quite slow, despite being saying that we are ready, but we were still very slow. In fact, in 2015, the Supreme Court also mentioned that there is a total confusion in the country due to the various personal laws, and they sought if the government was willing to implement the UCC. And it also observed what happened to it. Why don't you, means the government, frame and implement it? Observation of Supreme Court is what happened to it, why don't you frame and implement it? Thereafter, the Uttarakhand and Gujarat, these two states constituted the committees for working on the implementation of UCC, but the same were challenged in the apex court. But the Supreme Court said that there is nothing wrong in it. There is the Article 162 which empowers the state to constitute such committees, and in India, Article 44 is in the part of directive principle of state policies, and hence the states has to endeavor, and they are taking few steps for the implementation of UCC, and the petitions were dismissed and there is nothing wrong in it. Now the question goes, the power and the efforts has go to the states. Now in the matters governing divorce, adoption, inheritance, guardianship, etc., they should start working like Uttarakhand as well as the state of Gujarat. Now, I would also like to refer to Article 246, bracket 2. This is the article which gives the procedure, because a lot of people are asking how this is going to be brought in our country, what is to be done. Now, Article 246 is also a small article, but it describes, it says subject matter of laws made by Parliament and by legislature of states. And it says, notwithstanding anything in clause 3, Parliament and subject to clause 1, the legislature of any state also have the power to make laws with respect to any matter that are enumerated in list 3 of 7th schedule in the Constitution, which is referred to as the concurrent list. Now I go to the 7th schedule, I go to the list 3 concurrent list, I go to item 5, I get marriage, divorce, infant, minor, adoption, wills, intestacy, succession, joint family, partition, etc. So these all are the subjects of the personal laws. So now Article 44 is already there. 246, subclause 2, article is also there, giving us the procedure, how to proceed. So the process is given completely in this Constitution. Now what is the claim of the opposition as far as the Constitution is concerned? They says the UCC is contradictory to Article 25 and Article 26. I go to Article 25. It says 25 bracket 1 says subject to public order, morality and health and to the other provisions of this part. So 25 is not, it's free for all. It says public order, morality, health and other parts. Please note the word are other parts. Now, it is very clear that Article 25 is not something like absolutely without any restriction. There is a proper restriction. Further, I go to 26. It says freedom to manage religious affairs, but keep it in mind, subject to other provisions. Now, when I go to 25 and 26, then of course I have to go to Article 14 and 15. The 14 says equality before law, that state shall not deny to any person any equality before the law and equal protection to laws within the territory of India. Then I go to Article 15. It says prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of religion, caste, race, sex, or place of birth. So 14, 15 are articles advanced to 25 and 26. So 25 and 26, the opposition is misusing it very badly, stating that UCC is in contradiction. This is absolutely wrong and absolutely without any logic. Opposition is good because you bring so many finer points which we might miss. But opposition for the sake of opposition without going into the depth and merits of the matter is the worst kind of opposition, and you should not give any kind of attendance to this kind of opposition which is useless. Yes, we will go to the when procedures, implementations. Of course, the government will call the people for seeking their views on the implementation. Now, it also meant I also went to a statement given by Honorable Justice, former Chief Justice of India, Mr. Bobde. The statement was given on 27th of March 2021. This is an absolutely perfect statement and it is enlightening, and most of the people has not been able to perhaps look at this angle. He has given a statement and told us, why are you looking left, right? You look at Goa. He said the Uniform Civil Code is already existing in Goa. His statement says that Goa is already having a kind of a uniform civil code, if not absolutely. And he says that it should encourage the intellectuals of this country to indulge in an academic talk, to visit the state to learn about it. He says Goa has what constitutional framers thought about and envisaged in India a uniform civil code. He also said that I have had the great privilege of administering justice under that code. It applies to marriage and succession and governing all Goans irrespective of their religious affiliations. So he has already told that it's not there existing. It's already existing in Goa. Further, going to the next part, I would just like to mention about a very important case called Sarla Mudgal versus Union of India. This is a case where again the government, the Supreme Court has given certain direction and described and clarified a very important point. They said there was a question was whether a Hindu husband married under the Hindu law by embracing Islam can solemnize second marriage. The court held that Hindu marriage solemnized under the Hindu law can only be dissolved on any of the grounds specified under the Hindu Marriage Act, 1955. So conversion to Islam and marrying again would not by itself dissolve the Hindu marriage under the Act. And thus a second marriage solemnized by a Hindu after converting to Islam would be an offense under 494 bracket 5 of the IPC. So this is also a very important judgment. If people think that, going for multiple marriages like this, if you convert from Hindu to Islam, you can do it. But I'm sorry, it's absolutely not permissible in our country. And now, coming to the small part, a lot of people ask me this question, a lot of myths are going on in the country. I would also like to make a special mention, the kind of myths which are traveling in this country to, waver the minds of the people. Somebody is saying that personal identity will be finished. I'm sorry, this is not a uniform identity code, so it has got nothing to do with that. Somebody said madrasas will stop. Again, this is wrong. UCC has got nothing to do with the uniform education code. Somebody said namaz will be stopped. This is absolutely incorrect. It is not a uniform worshipping code. Some said dress will be common for everybody. Even this is incorrect. This is not a uniform dress code. People are also referring to the tribals, that their traditions will change. I would like to mention that this is not a uniform tribal code or uniform custom code or uniform traditional code. So it's not going to touch their traditions. There's another interesting thing very much traveling in somebody has raised a question that Baba Yogi bulldozer will go all over the country and demolish everything. Sorry, this is a uniform civil code. It is not a uniform or anti-encroachment code that country will have that kind of bulldozer. For that, there will be separate doing, and might be some people are trying to make those things in our country, but it has got no connection with the uniform civil code. Another thing has come that this law is being, uniform civil code is being brought so as to hot track the criminal cases and put the people, convict the people as fast as possible under the criminal law by bringing uniform civil code. It is absolutely incorrect. It is not that people will be thrown to jail in a fast track code under. This is not a uniform judicial code for the criminal matters. Two last thing, people are also creating myths that religious conversions will stop, they are trying to say. Although their people are there trying to stop it, but it is not directly connected to uniform civil code. Last point, what is myth is going is that cow killing will be stopped. That no, sorry, this is also not part of the uniform civil code. For that, separate law is required, and perhaps Dr. Swamy also, was contemplating to bring a bill in the parliament, which is probably he can throw better light. And further, going to tell you, whenever there is something is coming good, myths are definitely bound to impart. For example, when GST came, I went to certain villages for a lecture. The people told me that they have been told that this GST means, in Haryanvi language, they call it Ghana Sara tax, means lots of tax. So this was a myth given by the people, those who are opposing GST. But I'm sorry, the GST has come up very well, although there are issues with regard to the procedures, with regard to the GSTN, its legality, illegality, connection, those are separate. But as far as tax collections are concerned, the June tax collection was a record tax collection at 161497 crores in our country. This is unimaginable. The nation, one tax has brought these results. So one nation, one civil law will also bring these. I would also tell you that it is not that one GST has been amended more than 500 times, including the rates of tax. 200 circulars, rather more than 200 has been issued. Instructions more than 25 has been issued. Orders 20 has been issued. So government is open to all kind of changes. GST Council is working round the clock. And the recent meeting, 50th of the GST Council in Delhi, has clarified. You can imagine after 2017, now in 2023, again it has been clarified that all foods and beverages which are sold in the cinema theaters are taxable at the rate of 5 p.m. At the rate of 5% and not 28%, which people has been charging. So be alert that the rate is 5%. This clarification has come up now. Even eateries are charging 18% because we need little clarity, which is actually the 5% except the 5-star hotels. Similarly, Article 370 was removed, with Dr. Swamy was the first man who was advocating. He says, why Article 370 can be deleted without parliament concurrence and with a simple presidential concurrence. He says it can be removed, but although it was better late than never, finally government accepted that proposal and they removed the Article 370. There were people who were opposing, saying that there will be chaos all over, there will be violence, etc., etc. But amazingly, the kind of tourism which has gone up, it is unimaginable. 102 flights moving in one day, 51 in, 51 out. So you can imagine the kind of influx. The tourism data says January 22 to September 22, it is 1.5 crore visitors has visited Kashmir. So you can well imagine that all the steps which our country has taken our country so far and so good at the places. I think with this I've been able to give a kind of a background to Uniform Civil Code, and I'm grateful for having a great listening, and especially with the people like Dr. Swamy, who is who's my guru and who is such a learned person in this world, who has been teaching in Harvard, and he left Harvard. Imagine people are looking for an admission, and he was a professor in Harvard, but he left and he came here and he has spent a huge amount of time for providing these things and guidance to people like us and to the nation, and what should be done and what should be done. I think once Uniform Civil Code come, we will have another opportunity when the government will ask that what are going to the procedure. The last point I would like to mention, when demonetization came, Dr. Swami has also referred that scheme was whatever without commenting that what it did and whether it was required. That was the RBI and law enforcing agencies. But there was a little problem with the implementation of this demonetization. And there have been enough of notes, currency notes in the ATM machines. There might have been a very smoothing period. So similarly, my only request to Dr. Swami and the government that there be a very smooth background and procedures for the UCC so that there should not be any confusion. Thank you very much, and I wish all the best that Dr. Swami will do his best and guide the country in bringing the Uniform Civil Code apart from the government, which is headed by Narendra Modi, who has also advocated one family means one law. Thank you very much.
Great presentation. As expected, you already have established a reputation for public speaking in particularly in Punjab and Haryana and Chandigarh. Let me put you three questions, all connected. Number one, when you say Uniform Civil Code, what first thing you're saying is that one man can marry only one woman. Because the population of women and the population of men is 50-50. And if one man marries five, then somebody else will not be able to get a wife. It is all right when the Mughals were here; they were they were just picking up women from everywhere and marrying them. So I'm not. I'll say that first thing that we need to do is to make sure that no one can marry more than one. Second, when the divorce takes place, today it is, I don't know whether triple talaq is still there or not. I keep hearing it's gone and so on, but I still hear people saying it's still there and so on. But triple talaq is an insult to human beings. That a man says, talaq, 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 out you go. So that has to, the Uniform Civil Code means that you have to take this out. A man cannot divorce his wife unless there's a procedure for it, for which the woman can go to court and so on. The third thing is, when the divorce takes place, they give only what is called as iddat, which means some small amount of money. And for the rest of her life, this lady is not been educated, she has not been, skilled in anything, and she's put on the street. Now that we cannot allow. And so that is also part of the Uniform Civil Code. Now take a case of Shah Banu. What was Shah Banu and how did she get relief? She did not go and say, no, please, this is what Islam says. There's nothing of the kind. She went straight to section 125 of the CRPC. That is the Criminal Procedure Code, which lays down compensation and how it should be given. Some people should read it. And on that basis, the clever lawyer, she was able to get her whatever the alimony or whatever it's called, the money that was due to her over a lifetime. Then Rajiv Gandhi, the pressure came. Now here the question, most Muslims I know say, let there be financial Uniform Civil Code. We have no problem, and none of us have any more than one wife anyway. But still, everybody is scared. The Muslims will be upset. Which Muslims are going to be upset? It's going to be these Arab sheikhs. That's all. I remember that and they were talking to Rajiv Gandhi about this, and he said our real problem was that we were importing oil, so much oil from the Arab countries and all, and we were being threatened. So they have also an Islamic organization and so on. They were given a big thrashing there when our representatives went. So I am saying, as far as India is concerned, should know that, as you pointed out, Australia, Muslims abide by that. United States, they abide by that. All the European countries, they abide by that. So if you marry more than one, it is an illegal. It's illegal in these countries, and it should be illegal immediately. So I think there are many dimensions to uniform civil code, but you should start by first saying that you can't divorce by triple talaq, out of the question. And two, you have to give alimony in such a way that she is able to live her life alone without any education, sitting at home on the basis of this. You can't drive her to destitution. And the third one is that there should be a procedure for how the divorce, if it's to take place, it should be established, and that is the way we should go ahead. Even if we can't do all of it in one template, but we can start by certain basics. Over to Ramesh. Anything you want to say?
Yes, sir. Jagga, thank you for an excellent information about what UCC is. My question to you is, what is the impact of UCC? Even though it's going to have benefits of bringing everything under one, civil code, what will be the impact for the Hindus? Like, we have the Hindu Undivided Family Act. There is this asset issues. So, what will create a confusion there? Because a lot of people have large, maybe big, a lot of them have gone under the umbrella of HUF for tax purposes and other things. What will be the impact of UCC on that?
You see, I left that point of the myths which are traveling in the country. Now, another myth which is traveling is that everybody will be taxable. There will be no exemptions under the tax law. HUF will be gone. No exemptions. This is all a myth. I must again say that we are not bringing a uniform tax code. That was direct taxes code or uniform separate code is a separate thing. But it has got no connection with the uniform civil code. I must make a clarification.
So the Hindu Undivided Family Act is not a part of UCC?
No.
Okay, good, thank you. And one more thing, even you mentioned about the cinema theaters, one of the viewers just gave some information saying that 8% is only after you walk into the theater and buy. If you buy it along with the ticket, it is still taxed at 20%.
Absolutely.
It's kind of nonsense, it's absolutely nonsensical. I don't understand why this is there.
Yeah, I'll just explain it. You see, the 50th GST Council meeting, they have said that there is a concept called composite supply in the GST. Now, composite supply is defined as a group of items. When you buy, the highest rate is applicable. This is part of the GST law. Right or wrong, this may call for an amendment. But now the clarification is, if you go to a cinema and if you buy popcorn and Coke, the rate of tax will be 5%. But if you buy it as a part of the ticket, then it will be 28%. So for the viewers, they should not buy anything with the ticket, and they should buy only going over there and must ensure that rate of tax is 5%. Government has also said, the Anti-Profiteering Authority, that the people should note whether the prices of these items has been brought down in the cinemas or not. If the cinemas are not bringing down the prices, they are, going for the unjust enrichment. Second thing, one of the most important, all eateries, standalone restaurant, hotels, except 5-star where room tariff is 7,500 or above. The rate of tax is 5%. It is not 18%. But unfortunately, we have given 50 representations to the government that please issue a clarification. We are still waiting. Even I had clipped the interview of Shri Arun Jaitley, where he said that this special provision has been brought to ensure that consumers are not exploited, but somehow the exploitation is going on. So my request to the government is please make a clarification that it is 5%, not 18%. Viewers can also check that. Thank you.
Okay, one last question. Okay, Jagdish, go ahead. I'll come back if you have time.
Advocate Ajay Jagga ji, my question is, in the country, and please give me the answer because many viewers are, do we have a uniform criminal code? Is uniform criminal code in existence in some form or the other in India today? I want to know.
Our criminal procedure code and IPC is applicable to all.
Yes,
Okay.
it's a uniform.
So I had in fact mentioned that when Lex Loci report came in 1840, the Britishers, they partitioned the laws into three parts. Number one, civil law. Number one, civil procedure code. Second, criminal procedure code with IPC, and third was personal laws. Personal laws which were related to Hindus and Muslims, those were left. They intentionally left it that let the Hindu and Muslim decide amongst themselves. So those parts which were left by the Britishers, apart from civil procedure and criminal procedure, which includes marriage, divorce, succession, guardianship, intestacy, will, etc., those are the part of things which are going to be under the uniform civil code. But civil laws, criminal laws are already existing, and they are at par for common for everybody.
So my question to you further is, if there is a uniform criminal code which is equal for both Hindus, Muslim, Christians, Sikhs, Jains or Parsis or all that, then that means that Sharia law is not Sharia criminal law is not applicable to Muslims. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Correct.
So why Sharia civil laws should be applicable to Muslims? What I want to know is they cannot have selective in choosing between the two. Sharia criminal law is not applicable to Muslims, but Sharia civil law today is applicable to Muslims, and we want to have a uniform law.
Who's they?
The Muslims.
Muslims in India are not against uniform civil code, I can tell you that. But there are pockets who represent certain obscurantist nations. They are the ones who are who are active in saying that you will not be a Muslim if you agree to all these things. But the Muslims agreed, as he has pointed out, in Australia, in France, even in France where the Muslims are all rioting, they have to follow that law there. Same thing in America, Scandinavia. So I think it's only in India because we get pushed around and kicked around, like we saw at the time. Yeah, go on.
I just want to make one thing again for Jagdish ji and for our other viewers, that I have specially mentioned that at the time when India and Pakistan, they became two separate nations, and we had our Constituent Assembly. In the Constituent Assembly, there were people who were in favor of Uniform Civil Code and people, they were against Uniform Civil Code. But those who were against Uniform Civil Code, concludingly on 23rd November 1948, that was the day when 44 article was brought in. They on record, I have also mentioned that we all are in favor of Uniform Civil Code, but we are saying that this is not the correct time. So what I am pointing from 47 to 2023 we have come, when the right time is going to come. Today they are also saying All India Muslim Personal Law Board has given the suggestions to the 22nd Law Commission before 14th of July, just now. And that Personal Muslim Law Board again has mentioned to the Law Commission that this is not a correct time. So the problem is, what is to be the time?
No, you are mentioning about time.
No, what is the correct time, Ajay Jaggaji? We never say today is not the correct time, tomorrow is not the time. When is the time? You can't say that.
But I'm saying that
there needs to be a conviction.
That time the issue.
Jaggaji, you said 1948 was not the correct time.
Correct.
But I want to ask you, is end of 9 years or end of the 10th year a correct time? Why is it not done in the first year? See, just like those 48 leaders wanted to stretch it beyond 48, don't you think our government also coming out, perhaps, I don't know, in the 10th year, whether that is the right time or the first year was the right time?
Then you can't go to Dubai if you do this.
अरविंद जी, आप कुछ पूछना चाहते हैं कि?
Yeah. See, Jagdish, you have made a very valid point. 1948 was the right time, but our governments did the mistake. When the partition took place, it was very clear that partition means Hindustan for Hindus, Pakistan for non-Hindus, those who cannot live with Hindus. And since Hindustan was for Hindus, at that time they should have said that one country, one constitution, that should have been adopted in 1947, which was
We'll be
you're rightly
losing it because-
questioning. I know you're questioning the आप मोदी जी की नियत को
He's traveling, so we might
वर्ष
get
में क्यों हो रहा है? बीजेपी के ऊपर ही सवाल उठा रहा हूँ. जब अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी प्रधानमंत्री थे, उस समय भी इनके घोषणा पत्र में था. अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी ने क्यों नहीं लाया इसको? From 1989 on.
Arunji, sorry, he's traveling, so we might be losing him on and off. Jagdish, you can proceed with your next question. So, till Arunji comes back.
No, Ajay Jagga ji, there is a bit of confusion with our viewers.
ये अलग बात है.
Arvind ji, 1 minute.
ये अलग बात
अरविंद
है. हमारा अगले वर्ष लोकसभा का
अरविंद-
चुनाव है और लोकसभा
अरविंद-
के चुनाव के लिए
Arvind ji, can you turn off your video because you're
Hello,
traveling,
yes?
you can't do. Don't turn off your video, but your audio is fine. But because we are cutting, you're not coming in at all. Your video is freezing.
no, it was because of the connectivity. Yeah, because of connectivity. Because of connectivity.
Yeah, please ask your question
Yeah.
so
So
that
I'm
we
saying
can answer the
this
question.
question.
You can't.
Yeah, he's gone.
No, my Ajay Jagga ji, some of our viewers and many people across the country, there is a confusion. When we talk about, I know you clarified to some extent, when we talk about Uniform Civil Code, what exactly will be affected for whether it is for Hindus or whether it is for minorities, what exactly will be affected is what people want to know. Whether you have some idea what will be affected.
Now I can explain you this thing in two parts. Number one is that when we say this thing that what is going to be the part, that will be actually when the draft will come, what topics will bring in. But as far as what is part of personal laws is concerned, primarily as Ambedkar has said, that it is marriage, divorce, succession, that is called property rights. So primarily these are the three things which are covered in that, but people are not understanding. People are saying Hindu cannot do Saptapadi, Muslim cannot do Nikah, Christians cannot do, this is all nonsense. You see, it has got nothing to do, this is not a uniform tradition code. You can do the marriage the way Hindus, Sikhs, they want to Anandkare, please go ahead, Muslim go to Christian, or Christian go to church, go ahead, Muslim go for Nikah Nama, go ahead, Hindu Saptapadi, go ahead. That system is not, but the law, for example, divorce, Dr. Swami referred, the talaq, these are issues which are related with the marriage, as well as divorce and property rights, succession. Those are covered under the Uniform Civil Code, nothing else.
Let me add one thing.
Yes,
Let me
of
add one thing more. As far as the Hindus are concerned, we had a Hindu code bill and everything is settled now. It's only the Muslims who have been left behind. They have to change. The Hindus are not affected by Uniform Civil Code because we have already met those requirements in the Hindu Code Bill of 1955. That is why the issue is essentially one of the Muslim community not protesting while we bring in modern laws for civil relationships.
One thing more, that something is being hidden.
No, I have one
That is if
question. Jagga ji, I have one question. When you say about marriage, Hindus will follow their own tradition, Muslims will follow their own tradition. But whether the 4 marriages allowed under Islam, will it be continued?
No.
No, I tell you, there was a debate yesterday. Some Muslim scholar was sitting. He says this is also incorrect to state that there is 4 Muslims in Islam. There is no such provision. There may be in some other, but he says it is not in or Islam that everybody is permitted.
All India Muslim Personal Law Board, they have decided uniformly that they are going to oppose it. On what grounds are they going to oppose it?
No,
All India Muslim Personal Law Board.
Their major are two things. First is Article 25, but they forget that it says it is subject to the other parts of the Constitution, which has already put restrictions. And secondly, Muslim Personal Law Board has also not denied. Even Constituent Assembly, nobody denied Uniform Civil Code. Only the time. So time now we have with us. Before 2024, we can put a draft. It is 46 lakhs.
Yes.
Suggestions has already gone to 22nd Law Commission. They have extended the date with 46 lakh. Already people have given suggestions and they have extended the date. Let the last date be over. Let there be a draft of the Uniform Civil Code. Now it is for the government to take it before the people.
So where is the draft?
So they should bring it.
There is no draft.
So I have a question which is of a
If there
general
is a
nature.
draft, then these kind of questions will not come.
No, Arvind, the government can come up with any draft. They have not come up. Law Commission has asked for this thing. But my question to both Ajay Jagga and Dr. Swamy is, looking at the time schedule, the monsoon session is almost beginning and it will get over before 15th August. Then we have a winter session and perhaps a short pre-election session in the month of January or February before the election. So really 2 sessions are pending. Election Commission has called for suggestions. Will the government have to wait for this Election Commission's Law Commission recommendation, or can the government go ahead and make a bill and pass it in the remaining 2 sessions before the election? My question is that because this Law Commission seems to be a different agenda and the government may have a different agenda. So I want this.
Law Commission is not binding on the government. They can go ahead with saying, that can go to the university library for future references.
Okay.
It's
So
not the law.
there is still hope of we getting, if the government is serious, Narendra Modi is serious, and about the timing, he can still bring about an uniform civil code in the coming 2 sessions. Perhaps it's too late for it's still possible in the monsoon session, but it is not too late for the next 2 sessions.
What about requiring Hindus not to abandon their wives without divorcing them?
Yeah, that is also perhaps will be, that is a part of our Hindu act.
Jagga, one question. You mentioned something about property. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by property? How is it? You mentioned something.
Inheritance.
You said,
Inheritance.
No. In UCC, you said 3 things come into play. One was marriage, divorce, and property. What do you mean by property?
No, property, how you dispose of property, what is meant by will?
No. Then is that a part of tax or UCC?
It is UCC. It is, it is UCC. I mean, what about children? Do you know what the girl children, they get hardly anything in the property of the...
For me, so I agree. How will it impact? And in that case, how does it impact what is on currently?
How does it impact? Women will become more empowered. They will not be subject to...
So girl child will have equal rights in the property, irrespective of religion.
Irrespective of, so is there a difference today among the religions? Is there a property distribution?
There is. The Hindus have completed, it's all practically equal. And the Muslim thing, there is a big difference.
I think you filed a case in the Kerala High Court.
In Kerala, I find it, yes.
Okay. No, because you mentioned property, I wanted to understand, because you said that HUF is a part of tax structure which is not being meddled with. This is purely on
the conservative Muslims people's the culture is still 11th century. I'm not talking about all Muslims. I know lots of Muslims.
Dr. Swami, there is one other question here. What is will the tribals face any will they have any disadvantage?
No,
will they face anything?
They have to conform. They have to conform, and can tell you that the Adivasis, for example, there's been a big change that has taken place. We have to also thank organizations which have been dealing with these Adivasi or Vanvasis, to be more exact. And there's no difference. As long as the clerics of some religion come and don't provoke people, everybody just wants uniform civil code.
So one last question, Dr. Swami, to the Jaggaji. Do you, or Dr. Swami, you know this also better. So do you know if Ambedkar had a view on UCC and polygamy or anything like that, or was there any? Is there any note, or we don't have any information, right?
No. He has spoken on it in the Constituent Assembly. And those who say no, he didn't want it, no, it's all nonsense. The man is totally committed to it, and he also only married after his first wife died, and to the external to the shock of many of the hardliners in the Dalit community, he married a Brahmin lady. His second wife was a Brahmin lady, and his teacher who taught him everything and sent him to Columbia University, he was also a Brahmin teacher. They are now making him out to be somebody who was pushed around. Yes, Nehru was pushing him around because Nehru was jealous of his education. He got a PhD from Columbia University. He got another degree from London School, and then he became barrister and came back to India. Jawaharlal Nehru never passed an exam, except the gentleman pass exam.
Yeah, one last question. Some people think that UCC might have an impact on SC/ST, or that's a separate act. Guys, don't confuse things. UCC has got nothing to do with caste and things like that. So don't confuse again. Don't read WhatsApp University messages, because that is a separate act. So don't get confused over this. UCC is only completely different. So I just want to mention that, because some messages going back and forth. I just wanted to make a clarification that it's got nothing to do with the SC/ST Act or any other act for scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. There'll be no impact on what are existing laws. Okay, Arvindji, you can.
No,
conclude.
before Arvindji, Rameshji, you rightly pointed out, and Ajay Jagga has been emphasizing in his talk that a lot of vested interest who are not for uniform civil code are carrying out a large disinformation campaign against UCC and dishing out all type of stories saying that will scheduled caste be allowed into Hindu temples? First of all, Hindu temples are open to everybody, including the scheduled caste. This is some of the diversionary tactics or disinformation campaign by vested interest to try and create distrust in the UCC. This is for the information of all viewers. Over to Arvind for his closing remarks.
I think this program was at the very appropriate time when the country is debating this uniform civil code, and Law Commission is inviting people's reaction about. Though there is no draft, that is the problem, and the only thing Law Commission is inviting is the reaction of the people to the concept of uniform civil code without being a draft. And let me just tell you, this Jagdishji, whatever you have pointed out about the rumors being floated by vested interest, it is because there is no draft. Had there been a draft in public, perhaps there was no place for these rumors. And so what
Arvindji, internationally, India is getting put down by this UCC. I'm not talking only in India disinformation campaign. I'm talking about big newspapers, even in America, that are spewing nonsense with UCC, about UCC.
Yeah. So these schools are misutilizing or exploiting the lack of draft. If the draft was there, there was no place for such rumors. And it is very good the way Mr. Jagga has put it, Dr. Swami initially introduced it. Thank you, Dr. Swami, for that. And Mr. Jagga has clarified. So now there should, all these rumors should come to a rest. And people who are spreading these rumors, this will affect a particular religion, whether it is Muslims or Jains or Christians or anybody else, or it will affect the rights of the tribals. In fact, Uniform Civil Code is going to do justice to all the sections of the country, irrespective of which state you come from, irrespective of which religion you come from, irrespective of your age or gender or caste or whatever. So I think it is one of the things which should be welcomed by one and all. And Dr. Swami has been advocating it for a long time, even before BJP put it in the manifesto in 1989. Janata Party under the leadership of Dr. Swami had put it in the manifesto and demanding it. So let's all welcome it. Let's all welcome it and try to pacify those who, without any basis, are raising their voices. A, because the draft is not available. B, because government has not made a sincere attempt to clarify this.
Now, one last thing, because it's being treated quite a bit.
Yes.
Somebody just says that if a Parsi woman marries outside, say marries a Hindu, then she's removed from the community. That's got nothing to do with Uniform Civil Code.
Yes.
Only a Parsi woman was marrying somebody who was having himself 3-4 wives already. That kind of thing would be affected. But if a Parsi woman marries any other religion and the community doesn't like it, well, that's got nothing to do with the Uniform Civil Code. As long as there is one man, one woman, that's all. Full stop. That is the core of the UCC concept.
And now, Dr. Swami, taking clue from you, I've got one very important question in my mind before I conclude. In fact, I was about to conclude. What about Jaggaji, about this LGBTQ community? Will their rights will also be affected by Uniform Civil Code? Because Dr. Swami said men and women. That is, men and men is not permitted. Women and women is not permitted.
They will have a separate thing altogether. Their acceptability is the issue. And but at the moment, even Supreme Court has not agreed to recognize their marriages. So therefore, don't bring that in. It is man and woman only, and they are 99.9999% of the population.
Yes. So Jaggaji, thank you very much. Dr. Swami, thank you very much. This was a program which was needed at this point in time when Law Commission has extended the last date up to 28th of July. Initially, it was 14th of July. Now they were given 2 more weeks for people to respond. And let's all appeal to people that in all fairness, they should support the Uniform Civil Code, even if it is without draft. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jagdish ji. Thank you, Ramesh Swami ji. I thank my technical team led by Ashish Shetty, Ishwar Iyer, Gadgi Rakesh, Swaminathan, Tejas Navalkul, Vishal Mehta, and Ajesh Nair. 23rd of July, next Sunday, we will be meeting again with a new topic and Dr. SUBRAMANIAN Swami. Till then, Namaskar, Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, Dhanyawad.